How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Rowlett, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today I want to talk about something very specific, which I think matches perfectly with a video that was posted over on actually Reddit of all places, but it's in regards to Pokémon Legends ZA and what kind of combat I expect that game to have. Now, I've talked about the fact that the game is confirmed to be an action RPG, right? Like an action RPG of sorts. Now, does that mean that we're going to be able to run around and, like play it like it's Breath of the Wild or something with swords and cutting stuff up? No, of course not. However, I do think we could get a bit of a cool idea here from some of the theories that I've seen. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to talk about rumors a bit later. But first of all, here is a post by somebody called Sir Siegfried14 over on Reddit, who basically posted this saying, "Forgive me for this low resolution and pixelated video, but hear me out. In PLA, we fought against Frenzied Alpha Noble Pokemon. This time, what if we get Mega Outraged Noble Pokemon?" So he's talking about the possibility that maybe we're going to be actually seeing Pokemon that have Mega Evolved in the wild. Similar to how we have Dynamax Pokemon that are kind of like randomly Dynamaxed out in the wild. And they're kind of dangerous, to be fairly honest with you all. They're kind of dangerous. If you guys remember from the Pokemon Journeys anime, you know, if a Snorlax Dynamax in the middle of, you know, the freaking street, it would destroy a city. So yeah, but basically, this is a fake mobile ad that he saw a few months ago, but it shows something very funny to me, which is basically this guy playing as a Garchomp running around with the UI from, like, I guess, I don't know, Scarlet and Violet, or actually one of the earlier games. Actually, might be a custom one. But basically, this is him running around as a Garchomp. Now, this is a fake ad, obviously. But what I do actually like about this, because the ad is crazy, but what I do like about this is this idea of, like, what if this was what a Pokemon battle looked like, right? You were the one controlling the Pokemon. Of course, it wouldn't be this fast and it wouldn't be this, you know, obscene. Like, this is a bit obscene. But I think this, like, right here, like, notice how he, like, dodges away from this Gyarados that's trying to shoot at him. He dodges away to the side. Imagine if we had combat like this, where basically you could do some level of movement, not obscenely crazy like jumping around like a ninja, but some level of movement like this during the battle, and then being able to attack, like an actual dodge button and stuff. Again, this is just a crazy idea, but I think it's kind of funny to look at because it is ridiculous. It looks like an anime animation, like literally, like, look at this, like the whole pose where he's like cut the Gyarados in pieces. It's a bit ridiculous, okay? But I think it's an interesting idea, and that's kind of what I wanted to bring this up and talk about in this video a little bit, is what will the actual combat look like in this game? Will it follow the Legends Arceus model, which, if you don't know what Legends Arceus did, was when we were actually, you know, in a battle in Legends Arceus, like if you guys remember it, when you were in combat in that game, you could still move your character around, right? Like, that's one of the coolest parts about the game, is that during combat, you as your character could still run around and then choose moves as you go, right? Like, you still, you know, the battle system of the game was genuinely so freaking fun, and way more fun than I feel like Scarlet and Violet is, where now, you know, in Scarlet and Violet, you're kind of forced to do it one way, you're stuck in one pose or whatever, whereas in this, you could run around and move your, you know, your camera, also the way you encounter Pokemon by observing them and throwing Pokeballs at them and everything. It was just way quicker, like this right here. Like, look, you can throw the Pokeball, just aim it, throw it, and you're Gucci. Like, the aiming system as well, it gives this action combat feeling. And just imagine if now they would twist it and it wasn't really about, you know, that it was now you're controlling the Pokemon or running around and doing stuff instead of just controlling the character like this. Like, imagine if they went all out, like, you know, something like this. Of course, this is just a mobile ad. Don't take this seriously. This is just a more or less a meme at this point. Don't take it seriously, like I said. But it is an interesting idea, to say the least, though, which is going to move us over to the next thing for today's rumor video, which is, of course, going to be this rumor post right here. And, of course, we have a picture of a looker, and basically this rumor is a bit of a short one, but it says that we're going to get something in May, so it actually is pretty interesting. So it says, Pokemon Legends Z, May 2024, by Anonymous. This was posted on the 24th. I think this was posted on the, well, actually the 1st of May. It says, I've got some information about Pokemon Legends ZA regarding the next trailer explaining the game in depth. Now, there's no precise release date. This information will be revealed at May 2024. No date confirmed, though. Apparently, that's what he's saying, that we don't actually have apparently no actual release date exists at this point yet, which I doubt. I think internally they would have a general idea for when they want to release it, but fair enough. He says that we will get actual information in May, which would make sense because the Pokemon schedule for Pokemon Presents and Directs and everything like that has kind of changed in recent time. It used to be kind of a Pokemon Presents or Pokemon announcement of sorts during Pokemon Day, one during May or June, one around August, and then something usually releasing in November, right? That's how it used to be. But for the last 3 years, it has changed. For the last 3 years, they changed it, and what they did was they basically released a new Pokemon game. So they released a Pokemon Presents specifically on Pokemon Day and August, right? August and Pokemon Day, the only times they really did presents for the last 3 years. Now, they could change that because back before then, before the last 3 years, the schedule used to be kind of a little bit crazier. You used to have a Pokemon Presents happening in Pokemon Day, but then also a Pokemon announcement of a brand new game or a brand new product in May or June. Like, that's very common. It used to happen. I've talked about this several times, and I can again show you the old kind of like listing I have here. And again, this is just like something I've shown in several videos, so it's nothing super mega crazy, but I think it's worthwhile just to bring it up and show it right here that yes, if you look at previous Pokemon announcements, if you look right here, from the top there, May 7th of 2014, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire got announced. June 6th of 2017, Ultra Sun and Moon got announced. May 30th of 2018, so there is a May announcement. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And February 27, 2021 was the first time where a remake wasn't announced halfway into the year. This was actually the February 27th was the first time of 2021 where they actually announced a remake that time. So they could have gone back now to where a remake doesn't need as much promotional time as before, which I guess would make sense. Or, as the rumor is saying, is that this time frame, this time around, will actually be when they're going to announce new information. He says the graphics are very pleasant and the game runs smoothly. Unlike the last Nintendo Switch mainline series entries, they might have been able to do this because of how segmented the in-game areas are. And I think we talked about this. I think we've covered part of this rumor previously, where he said the exact same thing. But again, I think it's just interesting, though. Apparently, you're a private investigator working on for the Looker Bureau, now run by Emma and Mimi, the Meowstic. The protagonists are not Caleb and Serena, which wouldn't be that crazy, but they seem to resemble them a little bit. The official names as of right now are unknown. As you keep completing your Pokédex, you'll be able to use it to solve your assigned cases. The trailer shows how Pikachu's Dex entry information is used in order to track its footprint. They thankfully have relaxed a little bit with the Pokédex tasks, which is something I guess people didn't like in the Legends game. And now it takes less to perfect a Pokédex entry based on what is seen. The starters are Snivy, Litten, and Piplup. No information about if they have regional forms or special Mega Evolutions. The game is set in Lumio City and its surroundings, which can't be true because we know they said entirely in Lumios. I don't expect it to go far away, though. Instead of visiting separate or world areas like Pokémon Legends Arceus, you will get time to time travel between the different epochs of the city with a special machine that does not only time travel, but also it time travels your whole base of operation, the Looker Bureau. It is said that this machine is powered by very unique Pokemon, but details are not given in regards to it. You start at the present, 10 years after Pokemon X and Y, and you'll be unlocking both past and future areas, with 7 in total, counting the present as an area. Battles are shown in action, featuring an opposing trainers Mega Charizard X, while the player has a Gardevoir that does also Mega Evolve during the trailer. Similar to Let's Go Mega Evolution, gameplay images are not final according to the trailer. So again, this rumor, I think we kind of already covered a part of it in the past. But again, the most interesting part, and the part I want to bring up again, is for me that May 2024 time frame. Again, it makes sense. It fits with what they've done in the past. Like, it's not out of the, again, realm of possibility. It is something they have done before. However, next we have a bit of a theory here. This is coming to us from none else than Soul Silver Art. You guys know Soul Silver. Says, this isn't totally related, but this topic prompted this idea. I'm expecting to see a lot of reused assets, especially from PLA to PLZA. I think they're going to put most of their new creative efforts into modeling Lumio City and making it feel as alive as possible, while instead other things like the people and Pokemon may be very similar to what we've seen in PLA and Scarlet and Violet. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think the actual design of the city is going to be looking way different than Scarlet and Violet, and graphically maybe might even look better. But I think the characters will also look different. If you look at the characters from Scarlet and Violet and the characters from Legends Arceus and the characters from, I don't know, Sword and Shield, there is a massive difference in the character design and the style they go for. They do change up style quite a lot. He says, we know Game Freak likes, actually he says it himself here, likes to change the art styles with every new game, and I think the art style itself will be a bit different here, probably brighter and more colorful, and French style instead of Japanese. But I think in the size and style of the characters and humans, they'll be same as the PLA. I think they'll basically be the same reused models. This would also just feel right because Legends is now its own series, and it's possible that PLZA is even taking place around the same time as PLA, possibly. This means it could be like other video games, let's say Uncharted, for example, In all 3 games, the characters in the world generally look similar to make it feel like this is all happening in the same world and story. Or it could be totally wrong, but yeah. But then again, you do have people like Jordan here saying, I don't think they'll reuse the models, which I agree with. I don't think they're going to reuse models. I think they will make new models for it, because I'm pretty sure it'd be more work just to edit them to fit the setting than if they were to make a new one. Definitely going to be reusing the animations and rigging though, but that's been a thing for a while now, aka the how and hop animations from Sun and Moon leading into Sword and Shield, which yes, reusing animations, not out of the norm for them. I think it's definitely something they could and would do. It's not that crazy. And this all came from, he was referencing this post from, Jordan, saying that seemingly a lot of the Pokemon language text in Pokemon Legends ZA's trailer is just reused gibberish. A little bit disappointed by that. But yeah, basically they've just been reusing a lot of text from other areas in the game, other parts of Pokemon. So they just kind of reuse the text and it looks a little bit goofy. But nonetheless, moving on, we also have this post from none else than Soul, who says, getting all these details from Pokemon Legends Arceus' concept art is something special. Now, the special art of Origin Dialga is funny, the ancient retreat is so beautiful, but pretty different from the game. I wish it was more green and full of life like that. But basically, it's these fan arts of, the concept arts of what they were planning on doing for this game for Legends Arceus. And I do agree that it's a bit disappointing that they didn't go all in on the the vibrancy of this concept art. They just kind of made Legends Arceus look a little bit more bleak. I'm not gonna lie, like the graphics in Legends Arceus definitely could use an upgrade. And they kind of show these little, what would you call them? Little bags of sorts. And again, all these little weird, concept arts and IDs they had for a lot of the Pokemon, a lot of the things you're going to be encountering, stuff like that. Again, I think it's really cool. I think I saw a theory from someone that was really neat about how, if we look at the actual, what do you want to call them? The alpha, the trial Pokemon you deal with, right? I forget the naming, but how, they are 5 of them, right? Similar to the 5 circles we have in the map of Legends ZA. Is it possible that because of that, we might be seeing a similar situation happening, right? Where we're going to be taking on 5 different Pokemon in those zones. But again, it's a theory. Moving on, we have another theory, though. This one is from, again, Mordecai's. We covered a little bit of his stuff previously, and I want to cover all of it again here because he has himself a massive amount of stuff he talks about in his posts, and I thought it would be really fun to talk about this whole thing here. So he has like I said, massive amount of posts, and we can go to his page here and check them all out. Again, give Mordecai some love. Go definitely follow him on Twitter because he does make some crazy amounts of posts, and a lot of them, and they're all interesting theories. But he has a massive kind of theory thread, and I want to see if I can find the exact one because he's been talking about a lot of stuff. Like, one of the things he talked about is the underground, and I want to add a little bit of my own theory here into his underground theory because I talked about this in my previous video, but he basically talked about how the Paris catacombs may have better odds in PLZA because he talked about this in one of his replays of Alpha Sapphire, that he found the Kalos Stone over in Rustboro Gym from the Glittering Cave in X and Y. And looking at what Jinorichi Masuda used as an inspiration for the Glittering Cave, it was the catacombs. Now, for those of you who do not know, the catacombs are basically these massive tunnels that span across all of Paris's underground. Like, it literally is a real-life thing. The catacombs of Paris, they're everywhere. They're all under the city, and they span for kilometers and kilometers, or miles and miles in American, I guess. But yeah, basically, it's like this crazy thing that exists. And interestingly, Junichi Masuda has stated in his blog that the Glittering Cave was based off of the catacombs. And the Glittering Cave, of course, is where, well, it's in Pokemon X and Y. There's a rock from there found in Oras, which is, again, it's found where specifically? Well, it's found over in Rustboro's gym, right? And then he makes the connection here, the Rustboro gym, well, it's the same city where we find who? Well, the Devon Corporation. The Devon Corporation has previously worked on stuff like, I don't know, just everything from transforming people into Pokemon to reviving fossils to a little bit of everything, okay? But also, it's perfectly connected to the fact that New Mobile, for example, had a subterranean city extending 69 floors underground, which is intriguing to me because that makes me think about the fact that they used an redevelopment, right? The Greater Mobile Holdings Company was supposed to be the ones to do urban redevelopment of specifically Mobile to create a massive underground city with 69 floors, but it doesn't end there. I actually think you can even make another connection to an underground city because people keep talking about how Lumio City is not enough for them to do every single Pokemon in it that should be in X and Y, etc., and it's too small and everything. Guys, they've done underground cities in other places in Pokemon. Imagine now the fact that you can make a direct connection, again, literally the catacombs, but also there's been another city that's underground, the Under. Now, some of you may not know this, and this is something I discovered myself, and something actually, you know what, I'm going to give myself credit for this one. Nobody actually thought about this. But there is a whole underground city location, a subterranean city situated beneath Pyrite Town, specifically in Pokemon Colosseum. Now, this is basically, it like reaches in 3 different ways. You could reach it through the elevator in the Pyrite building, the Under subway, or a mine shaft not too far from the west of Pyrite. The Under is a home to 2 Colosseums, the Under Colosseum and the Deep Colosseum. The city is mostly pro-Cypher, so fair enough. Basically, it's originally an artificial town, and this is the point I want to include here, right? It's an artificial town constructed for the convenience of the miners of Pyrite. Instead of having to commute between Pyrite and the mine each day, the workers assigned to dig in the mine would stay in the Under instead. When the mine closed, the miners choose to remain in their adopted home. Now most of the Under is populated by the descendants of the original mining crew. The original inhabitants that still live in the Under are quite old, but are fond of telling stories of the mine and what it was like in its prime. So you have a connection of literally future and past, like the future miners who worked there, and also the people who are like basically the descendants of the mining company, right? And the people who like worked there. It's really intriguing because later on in XD Gale of Darkness, the Under is completely inaccessible because it had been buried due to the incident with Cypher, as villains like Lady Venus could use the Under to hide out. So basically, we have a whole place, the whole location set underground, a literal location set underground. And again, the connection here that I really love, and they love to use, like, they love to take stuff from old Pokemon games, even if they are spin-offs and stuff. They like to take aspects of that and shove it in. Would it be that crazy to talk about the fact that it's an artificial town, a literal artificial town constructed underneath? The urban redevelopment plan could be doing the same thing. On the top, they're redeveloping Lumiose to look a certain way, but underground, they're developing it the same way that, guess what, we saw with none else than the Greater Mobile's Haunting Company from, of course, Mobile City, which were supposed to, again, let's read the following. Greater Mobile Holdings was a company based in Hoenn. It was involved in the construction of Mobile City, New Mobile, and C-Mobile. Many years after the company's demise, few remember anything of it beyond the name Mobile, which remains associated with each of its 3 chief projects. The company had ambitious plans that included urban redevelopment, the creation of infinity energy as a new energy source, and the extraction of deep-sea natural resources, but its ventures ultimately failed. New Mobile, a power plant slated to be expanded into a massive underground city, was shut down after it was found that wild Pokemon had begun using it as a habitat. This subsequently led to the closure of C-Mobile, which also became a Pokemon habitat, and the dissolution of the entire company. So yeah, again, I think it's very intriguing that they could connect all of this. Like, all of this could be really, really well connected into one thing. And honestly, I'm a big fan of this theory. So again, this is one of the things he posted. This is specifically about the mobile thing, but he also has made some other posts as well, specifically Mordecai. So we're going to go and check out one of his other posts here, which is, I found major hints that Legends ZA is set in the future of specifically with Mobile City in Hoenn, which is Violet City in French. Violet equals future, and the MC, or I guess the main character, underwent a redevelopment plan in Oras, or I guess, sorry, Mobile City underwent a redevelopment plan in Oras, featuring an indoor complex modeled after Lumiose City and utilizing infinity energy and a new power source. He continues on, don't forget that the new closed power plant, New Mobile, which was 60 plus subterranean floors, ended up closing due to Pokemon making habitats on the lower levels. So much to dig into. What a great discovery. Moving on. The PLZA or Nora Skull and Violet Gen 369 tie-in map have been updated with some details. So here again is his massive post with all the different connections he's trying to make between everything. I don't really know all of what the connections are supposed to be here. I guess he's trying to make the, kind of the connection between the Eternal Floette and the Ultimate Weapon, which connects well, I guess, to the Ultimate Weapon, as well as Area Zero, which connects well with some of the Pokemon we found in, like in Area Zero. I forget what the name of it is. The crystal flower thing. You guys see it here on the screen. You guys know what I'm talking about, and how that looks very similar to the X and Y Reflection Cave, which then, of course, is a place which has, like, colors matching up with Megas. And again, there's a lot of, like, it gets a little crazy here. I would love it if there was, like, a proper, like, write-down, like an actual write-down of text that could connect better to all this. But nonetheless, it's intriguing, and I cannot wait for Mordecai to write more theories about this and just make more posts, because honestly, I frankly love when he does do this kind of stuff, because it is really fun. Just in general to talk about and just cover. I just think he's really enjoyable. Then, of course, we do have none else than, of course, Ridley-Koo. He has been posting some stuff. Now, unfortunately, if you guys do not know, Ridley-Koo is a leaker. He's leaked stuff in the past. However, recently, he hasn't really been giving us much, and he did say this. He did say this even last year, that it wasn't really going to be much for the first half of, 2024, right? It wasn't going to really be a lot of information. But ever since like his most recent like riddles back before, Legends Arceus was revealed, like the whole 8 and stuff, like, it's just a bit interesting. He did say here, though, with this 8, and we never actually got a conclusion for what this 8 meant. And again, he's a riddler, so he just gives us riddles and not conclusions. He said, this developer is still converting, not the final. So I'm wondering if what he meant by this exact post right here, if, like, what he meant with this, like, exact post was perhaps that the developers or whatever this Gen 5 remake game, which is what we theorized, maybe he was implying that they haven't actually finished that game yet, or they haven't finished, preparing it, and maybe that's what he's talking about here. But again, the biggest issue was that once they actually revealed it, he didn't really have much of value besides this one post, which here he was specifically talking about the code name. This is the only thing he had. It was just a code name for this game. The answer revealed code name for the new work, Ikaku. Reminder, there's not much info planned for this year though. And yeah, he just said metadata on the press logo, images, Ikaku logo, ES layered, and that's it. There wasn't really much else. So I do hope, because he tweeted twice today, and he tweeted specifically this post right here, so just saying hashtag battle rally Pokemon Masters, and that's about it. There isn't really much else here. There are a few characters in the bottom, and he has in the past used Masters EX, this game, to actually riddle and hint at stuff that's coming. But again, nothing here of value. It just says Battle Rally and then Masters, and that's it. And then he had this picture, photo op, and then it's just a picture of red, blue, and green, like all 3 of them, or Leaf, whatever you want to call her. All of them in there, and that's about it. Again, it's not really much here. I'm not really sure if there's much of value to say, to be honest. Like, it's not really much there. But that pretty much summarizes today's video, guys. I want to thank you all for watching as per usual, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.